Hi, everybody, and welcome to Love Notes with Dr. Deb. And actually, this is season 2. Here at Love Notes, we talk about everything love and relationship related. And I've been a couples and family therapist for over 35 years, so I'm bringing you the best of what I have to offer, advice. And we have some spectacular guests this season. And we happen to have one today who you are not going to believe what she has been doing in this chapter of her life. I am so pleased to have with me the host of Living Abundantly with Sarah Vie, which is a nationally syndicated show on CBS affiliates and on YouTube. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Welcome.
It's so good to thank you. It is always good to be with you. Thank you.
It's great to have you and to be following your journey. And Sarah was a guest with us on season 1. You can go back and listen to her story there. And Sarah, you have been doing some amazing things in this chapter of life that I've been following. Yeah. So we have been talking about, the stages of life of 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, and what people are doing and how they feel about love and relationships and challenges. So tell the audience what you've been up to since last season.
Wow,
I do.
It was ages. It seems like ages ago that I was on your show before, and it really has been, a journey since I was last on your show. It was hard to believe. Sometimes when you're in what you're doing, you don't recognize how far you've come. And I guess the first show that I was on, is kind of a marker of how my show has expanded. And, I never like to have a one-sided life, that the only thing I find love in is what I'm doing. I feel like when we feel love, inner love, love spreads to every single part of our life, like, relationships, our relationship with money, our relationships, personal relationship, love relationships, our passion, our health.
Yes.
And I feel like I have a very, very balanced life because my life isn't just about, the show. But I love what I'm doing, and I love how it has expanded. And because of that, it really helps me to show up in my personal love, my relationship, at, as you know, that I call my sexy too much year, the 62.
I love it.
That, I've been in a beautiful, healthy relationship after 32 years of marriage, and I've been in this one for the next chapter of my life for the past 5 years. So whatever happens in every other area of my life actually strengthens, one or, all of the other relationships that I have in my life. So, so I say the expansion in my show has expanded into, my personal relationships specifically. Yeah.
And Sarah, your show is about a year old now. You're in season 2. And
season 2, yeah.
I should tell everybody that I've been a regular contributor on the show, and I love what we've been doing there. We've been talking about romance rescue tips and sacred sexuality and all kinds of relationship things in between. The important conversations, courageous conversations that are necessary in a healthy relationship. And we're going to be doing more this season, really delving deeper into the topics of love at all ages. And you started your show a year ago. And what would you say to people who say, oh, I'm 60 or 65 now, and, it's time to retire, or I don't want to try new things. I don't want to travel. I don't want to expand myself. I'm tired, and I'm just going to have a plan to have no plan. How do you feel about that?
Well, I know that I have to keep it very clean on radio, but it starts with a B.
Within reason.
And with a T. That is really, a myth. And I believe that so many people get caught up in what our quote-unquote society says that what should happen to you when you even hit the age of 55. I should be in there's no judgment on it, but, moving into a, 55 and over, club and, like apartment or whatever. But you know what? It's baloney. Okay, there's the G-rated.
Yeah.
but
yes, we could use that.
I kind of have a la 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 and don't even think about it because
don't even listen.
I was a stay-at-home mom and I had a very important job of raising my 4 beautiful, healthy children. And, that was one part of my life, but I really put so much of my healing and all the things that I wanted to do on the back burner. And now I get to do all the things that I always thought I couldn't do. I'm actually doing them now. And I'm not listening to society. I'm not wearing what, society says that women over the age of 60 should wear. I do have really long blonde hair, and I will continue to have that. I am not getting my hair cut short. I travel. I lift weights. I, exercise, 5 times a week. I have a beautiful, loving, healthy relationship. I am doing all the things, it's almost as if my show is a mirror of what I could have been doing, much earlier. So I think it's baloney that people think that I'm too old. I'm not good enough. I can't do this because there's so many younger people. Well, I want to tell you that many of my viewers are young people that actually want to live the way that I'm living when they are my age. And I feel like, I've always been one that defies the norm. I never felt like I fit in. So I get to continue that belief. And I just don't. I'm so happy that I don't fit in. I don't listen to what everybody thinks that we should be doing, especially as women.
Yes.
Over the age of 60, I just have a couple more wrinkles than I did when I was younger, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I think that's the. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Well, I know that you've been on a challenge journey on this show. And I have to tell our audience, I don't know if I'll catch everything you've done, but Sarah has done aerial, like circus kind of act, and you danced with the Rockettes.
It's about, it's about walking the walk. And, the only thing that we have holding us back, obviously, is ourselves and this belief in the fear. So Walking the Walk on the show is about the, this Feel the Fear series that I did last season. And it's all about doing things that, and I'm not talking about bungee jumping or, tightrope walking between skyscrapers. That is not, I'm not doing that. Or jumping out of an airplane.
No.
This is about emotional fear that actually can be as scary as, jumping out of an airplane. We can hold ourselves back by the fear of being judged, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of looking ridiculous and everybody judging us, right? So what I've done is I'm defying it, and I've been doing things that literally used to hold me back because I was so afraid that I would look stupid, get judged, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I know. Like you said, I did aerial with a group for the Cirque du Soleil. So I was like jumping in hoops and, that was fun. I did a boudoir shoot.
I just was going to mention that.
What?
I just was going to mention that. Yes, you did do a boudoir shoot, and I remember we talked about, you said you were so nervous, and you did post it as well, which I thought was wonderful. And excuse me, I wanted to share. I'm a couples therapist, and a little while ago I had a couple where there had been infidelity on the gentleman's part, and it was a fairly young couple in their 30s, and the woman decided on her own that she wanted to do a boudoir shoot, not for him, not necessarily to give as a gift to him, but for her own self. And she said, I want to reclaim my sexuality and my body, and I want to feel good about it. And I asked her, are you giving this mainly as a gift to him? And she said, no, I don't know yet. It's just going to be for me right now. And I loved it, in terms of a way to, it's very difficult to recover from infidelities in a marriage. And she just creatively came up with that herself. And I absolutely loved it. I'm in full support of it. So what did you feel when you conquered that fear?
Yeah, well, because I love humor, and that was actually a coping mechanism that I used to kind of get over feeling super uncomfortable. So I brought all these crowns and funny things, and my fabulous photographer said, nope, we're not doing that. And I'm like, oh boy. So it really was about, reclaiming, whether I lost it or not, I don't know, but it was about reclaiming my own sexuality after, having 4 children. Your body changes, and just feeling like the part of the pictures, like they're the most beautiful. I mean, I have to say, so they're beautiful. It's art. Because, whatever we've been through as women, our bodies are beautiful. I don't care what shape, what size, whatever. This is about celebration of an older, I don't like that word even, a wiser woman's body who has had life challenges, who's had, a cesarean scar, who has, been through a marriage of 32 years. And I didn't do it for anybody else but myself. My kids were a little embarrassed, like, Mom, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they feel when they saw the pictures?
Well, they were a little like, that's not who I thought of as my mom. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to use them the way that I want. I'm not going to wait for permission for my children either. I mean, I can be respectful, but they were a little uncomfortable. I mean, there was nothing that I didn't show any bare spots. I mean,
they were beautiful.
To have my breast showing or anything, but it really, I think it was just my liberation. Not that motherhood took it away from me, but it was a liberation of like, all right, now I get to step into something else that kind of, I would never have done that.
Another part of you.
Ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so important to, your show is called Living Abundantly. And you talk about, that doesn't mean material abundance, although that's okay, but it's a really much broader idea of in all areas of our life, whether that's seeing yourself as a woman, seeing yourself in a relationship, seeing yourself intellectually, spiritually. I know a lot of us have been thinking a lot about self-love these days. And I talk about it as an important part of the foundation of a really healthy romantic relationship. Yeah. And Sarah, maybe we can pick this back up. I'm going to go off to a little bit of a break here. And when we come back, I'd like to get your perspective on self-love and what you see going on with friends your age in their relationships. I know right now there's a lot being publicized about gray divorce, the empty nest in the 50s and 60s and people getting divorced late into the 60s and even later. So when we come back, let's pick up on those. And you've been listening to Love Notes with Dr. Deb with my very special guest, Sarah Vie, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Love Notes with Dr. Deb. We've been talking with my very special guest today, Sarah Vie, who is the host of Living Abundantly with Sarah Vie, a show that is on CBS affiliates in New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and also on YouTube. And Sarah has really been killing it, rocking it in this stage of her life, doing all kinds of new things and blossoming, I would say. And Sarah, we just dropped off before the break, beginning to talk about self-love. And what do you think that has to do with, feeling you're living an abundant life?
I think it has everything to do with living abundantly. I think that, self-love is the source of living abundantly. Because when you love yourself, you allow yourself to have, experiences. When you love yourself, you want to take better care of yourself. When you love yourself, you are able to be in healthy, loving relationships. It really all starts from within. And
so many of us, I would say everybody brings in something from their past. We all have a history that's usually multi-generational in terms of, patterns in relationships come down from generation to generation. And whatever you've taken in your childhood or in a previous relationship, maybe you've had a marriage that wasn't healthy, then we get triggered by those things. And we're doing some destructive things in the current relationship or holding ourselves back. It's so important to look at how we can change old patterns, that we've learned in our growing up and getting into more healthy and wiser behaviors and interactions with the current partner. Do you feel that you've changed a lot since your marriage and divorce, and now you have a new partner of 5 years? How do you feel you've changed in your self-love, and how has that impacted this relationship?
It is like night and day. I always was very into, mindset, and, being the very best I could be, but I didn't know how to grow with, I call him my husband. I did not know how to grow with him. So therefore, I felt as if my growth was very, stuck. He was not willing to do any work on himself or in, going to therapy, in doing work in the marriage. So I was always on my own. I was always trying to do better, but then I would get sucked back into his inability to want to grow. Therefore, when I left, I was able to really just go all in 100%. I've done every modality of healing, and I really focused in on myself. And I then met someone who had this very similar energy that I had within, and he is somebody, if he is not at the spiritual caliber, I would say, as I am, but he's willing to change, and he's willing to listen, and he's willing to, accept me and all my craziness, not craziness, but, just some of the things that I do. And he's just willing to accept me. And we have, but he's not like me, but he's willing to do the work to change, to listen. So I'm completely different now, 100%.
Wonderful. Sometimes it takes us being wiser and going through these stages of life until we are the partner that we want to be and the partner we want to have. I always say to people, be the partner you want to have. You know, a lot of times people are pointing the finger at the other person, and, you know, it's you're the problem, when really we have to look inside ourselves. And I think, say, first of all, what are we being attracted to? Who are we letting in our life? And is that healthy? And, you know, all good qualities? Or are you repeating some patterns? Hopefully not at this age. At our ages, similar age group to you, Sarah, where we're using discernment. I like to use that word in all the decisions we make, especially, you know, around the loving partnerships.
Yes. Well, I want to add that, you know, we attract who we are.
Yes.
Who we are is someone who, you know, we blame it on somebody else, but we actually are attracting who we are. How we are feeling about ourselves is what, I mean, that's, for me, that's what happened. Like, I attracted who I was then and am becoming, you know, I mean, it never stops. Like, I want to keep growing and getting better every day.
It's so interesting because I've met quite a few people in the last 2 years, and I would say 5 in particular stand out in mind. Now, none of them are a relationship at this point, but I think, you know, as I've been growing these last 2 years, I see it as I'm being shown qualities with each one of them.
Yeah.
You know, some are friends, some are colleagues, acquaintances, but I can point out to 5 that it's almost like a ladder going up, that, you know, I feel the universe is saying, well, like this, but better. And when I say yes, the next one that comes is the better one.
Then
then that one, I feel like I'm being asked like this, but better. And I'm like, yes, like that, but better. And so now I'm up to like 5.
Well, that's what I think
growth
dating
stages
really is.
Absolutely.
You know, it's looking for the qualities that eventually will come when, you know, when it's time, you know, and finding along the way, oh yeah, this is what I like about this person. And, you know, but maybe not that. And then you take that to the next level, exactly what you said.
Yeah. You know, I think now of Taylor Swift, how she often gets criticized for having dated so many different people. And I say, God bless her. I think, you know, in her 20s, now she's only 35 now, but she spent her teen years in her 20s really discerning and making mistakes. And, you know, by the time this relationship came along, she knew the difference between what she didn't want to attract anymore and now what she has attracted. So that's it, to take the time. And I find so many people rush into things and don't take the time to really observe and decide, who should I have in my life and who should I not. And how long did you know your current partner before you felt like you knew this was going to be a good relationship?
You know what? It's so interesting that you asked me that, because it was literally after our first conversation. It like, oh yeah, it was the communication part and the way that he was able to have deep conversations, which was something that I just, you know, was starved for in my marriage. And I knew, I mean, it was probably a year-ish in that I just finally just let it, you know, just let myself go, because I was like nervous and I didn't want to get back into the monotony of, you know, a marriage. We're not married. But I don't know whether that would make any difference. But I would say it was a good year before it wasn't him. It was really me. Like, you know, did I want to date more? Did I want to commit to one person after 32 years of marriage? Did I, you know, I was like, oh, but I want to be able to travel. I want to be independent. And all the things that I wanted. He was like, okay, that's fine. So we've been able to, I don't like being away from him. I like being together, and we have so much fun together, and we travel. I would probably travel a little bit more, but that's going to be coming. But right now, we just have such a lovely, healthy time together. But
that's beautiful.
Not always together, but when we're together, we're very present. And, we have so much fun. So the answer to your question, it took about a year. For me to
that's
really...
actually what I call the minimum. I have so many people that jump in, and a lot of younger folks, they're moving in together after 4 dates, or, I feel 1 year is the minimum. But after all these years of doing couples therapy, over 35 years, I really now feel 2 years is probably a good point to know the real person, because the masks come off after a while. And, I always say even a gorilla can be a good date for a year. But
exactly. Well, it's interesting because I did not introduce him to my children until 3 years in. I did not introduce him. I didn't, I wanted to make sure that this was the one, and I didn't, and we didn't. I was dating him really for almost 3.5 years. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to date. Good. Even though we still had so much fun, and he was so lovely to be with and communicate and have great conversations. And then, I have a rental house, and so my house is rented in the summer. So I spend my summers here in Baltimore, and it's great. But I know that I can always go to my house and have some time on my own, and he likes to have his time on his own as well.
I think when you've been through long marriages, and we're doing another show for this first 2 episodes of this season with Susan Knowles, who is in a long-distance relationship between New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and St. Martin. And she was telling us how, how they're managing, but spending quite a bit of time when they are together, a month together, 3 weeks. And, there's all kinds of models. There's no right or wrong. Whatever works when you've already lived life. You may need space and independence, and then closeness and being together. And, you don't have to get stuck on one way as being the right way.
Exactly. But I think that's, again, the societal norm that we seem to think we have to follow. Like we have it's very unconscious, people normally have second marriages. I don't know whether that would really enhance at all. I'll take a ring, but I don't really need to have a marriage to make it different, but that is out of the norm. It just isn't. I don't know in the future whether we are. But so I think that there are, if you can see and be independent from what society thinks that you should, what you should do, it makes it even more abundant.
Sarah, we have about a minute left for the show.
Yeah.
And what would you like to tell folks who are, in the over 50 crowd, maybe what you've learned and you're applying now in your life?
I know it's very cliche, but we are never too old to start living our most fulfilled life. And I'll just give you a really quick example. Is and I think I have that in my genes, is my grandmother was 85 when she went back to college in England and got her master's degree in French.
That's amazing.
And she lived until she was 109. And she would say that her life began at age 80 and lived this incredible life living on her own, driving, in the south of England, and she lived the most magnificent life when she started 80. So if somebody says they're too old, I will go, no, la, 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 la.
80 is the new 40, right? Oh, my goodness. Well, I didn't realize we had that in common. I had an aunt who lived to 109. And I have a cousin who's 90 now who would love to have a boyfriend and is keeping her eyes out for, she's had some crushes. She had a crush this past year of someone in the neighborhood. And, very vibrant and, there's no time limit where love and sexuality and intimacy and passion expires. So, Sarah.
I would just say, defy the norm.
Defy the norm. I love that. That's going to be one of our themes for this season. And you're doing that, Sarah, on Living Abundantly. You are defying the norm and bringing such good messages to everyone. So please make sure to the audience that you tune in to Living Abundantly with Sarah Vie. It's an incredible show with a beautiful mission and purpose to help us all live abundant lives in all areas. And Sarah, where can people find you?
Well, if you want to see the show, you can. If you're not in the area of New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, you can watch on my YouTube channel, Living Abundantly with Sarah Vie, 10:30 Saturday mornings.
Great.
And, I live in Baltimore and Delaware, but I go to New York every month. So
Great.
The best way to see me is on YouTube. We have we have over 155,000 subscribers, so I hope that everybody will become one.
Sounds good. Sarah, thank you for being with us today. And to the audience, remember that each day is precious and love is a precious gift. So make sure that you make that day a whole season of love. Until we're here again, take good care.